And for years now, 3 years, I've never said the name of my shop in my videos because I was always afraid that someone might go to my business page and leave bad reviews because they didn't like something that I said in a video. But guys, this is my shop, Lakeside Small Engine.
She spent 15 years fixing what others threw away: carburetors, chainsaws, lawn mowers that nobody else could save. Then one day, the woman behind Chickanic went quiet. The rumors spread like wildfire across the internet. Some said she lost her shop. Others said she burned out. A few whispered about something darker, something involving her face and her voice being stolen by machines. Today, we finally know the surprising truth. The day the switch went off. On October 14th, 2023, something happened that shook a community of over 600,000 loyal subscribers. Lakeside Small Engine, a shop built from nothing over 15 years in Hot Springs, Arkansas, officially closed its doors. For Bree, the woman the internet knows as Chickanic, this was not just paperwork. This was not just locking up one last time and handing over the keys. This was the end of everything she had built with her own 2 hands. Think about that for a second. 15 years. That is longer than some marriages, longer than most careers. She poured everything into that shop: blood, sweat, grease, and more hours than she could ever count. You have to understand what that shop meant. It was more than just a building. It was a place where engines that were given up on roared back to life. A place where strangers became regulars and regulars became family.
So what does this tell you guys? What's my tip of the day? Something that's going to save you some time, money, and frustration as an ex-dealer of one of these brands.
Every year, that shop took in over 2,000 pieces of equipment: lawn mowers, trimmers, generators, chainsaws, pressure washers, you name it. If it had a small engine and it was broken, people brought it to Lakeside. Bree answered thousands of questions. She diagnosed problems that stumped other mechanics. She rebuilt carburetors when other shops just wanted to sell you a new machine. She was honest about pricing when the rest of the industry sometimes was not. And then one day the lights went out. But here is the thing. That moment when Bree finally shut down the shop, that was not the beginning of the story. That was the climax. The invisible pressures had been building for years: financial strain, physical exhaustion, the weight of running a business while also becoming one of the most trusted small engine voices on the entire internet. The decision to close came from a place nobody could see from the outside. And if you only knew the surface, you might think it was sudden. But for Bree, it had been a long time coming. A reputation built from nothing. Long before there was Chickanic, the YouTube star, there was Bree the student. She spent 2 years in college learning small engine repair. She sat in classrooms and workshops, learning how these machines actually work. After school, she went straight into the trenches. She worked at a small engine shop and learned the business side of things: how to deal with customers, how to diagnose efficiently, how to price jobs fairly while still keeping the lights on. Then she and her husband opened their own shop, Lakeside Small Engine in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And from day one, they did things the right way. Their specialty was everything: Briggs and Stratton, Kohler, Honda, Steel, Echo, Husqvarna, Craftsman, Troy Built, Poulan, Red Max. If it had a small engine and it needed fixing, they handled it. Building trust in this industry is hard. A lot of customers come in after being burned by other shops. Overcharges, unnecessary repairs, mechanics who treat them like they are stupid just because they do not know the difference between a carburetor and an air filter. Bree was different. She explained things. She showed customers what was wrong. She gave honest prices and stuck to them. She earned loyalty the old-fashioned way. For over a decade, this formula worked. The shop grew. The reputation spread. People drove from miles away because they trusted her. But running a repair shop is relentless. Every spring, the phone rings off the hook. Everyone suddenly remembers their lawnmower has been sitting in the garage all winter. Every summer, the chainsaws come in. Every fall, it is the leaf blowers. And in winter, you catch your breath just long enough to realize you are exhausted before it starts all over again. The grind never stops. And what made Lakeside successful was also planting the seeds of something else. The price of internet fame. At some point, Bray made a decision that would change everything. She started a YouTube channel called Chickanic in 2017. The name itself is genius. The idea was simple. Take all that knowledge from the shop, all those years of diagnosing and fixing, and share it with people who could not afford professional help or lived too far from a good mechanic. It worked. It worked beyond anything she could have imagined. Today, that channel has over 610,000 subscribers and more than 100 million total views. Let those numbers sink in. 100 million views. That is the population of a medium-sized country, all watching this one woman from Arkansas teach them how to fix engines. Every week, she uploads videos showing how to diagnose and repair common problems. Lawnmowers that will not start, chainsaws that bog down, trimmers that flood, generators that quit under load. Her style is what made her stand out. No gimmicks, no nonsense. She gets straight to the repair and shows you exactly what to do. Her tagline says it all. Save time, money, and frustration. During the pandemic, the channel exploded. Supply chains were broken. Professional services were limited. People were stuck at home staring at broken equipment they could not get fixed. Suddenly, those Chickanic videos were not just helpful. They were essential. But here is what nobody talks about. The cost of all that success. Running a YouTube channel at that level is a second full-time job. You have to plan content. You have to film. You have to edit. You have to respond to comments. You have to keep the algorithm happy. And the algorithm is hungry. It wants more. It always wants more. Bree once explained in an interview just how much work goes into a single video. Outside of her full-time shop job, she is scripting, filming, editing, and publishing content on a schedule that would exhaust most people.
It won't bring the unit up. One way to check compression if you do not have a compression tester, which works some of the time, I mean, it's not 100%.
But here is the trap. The channel brings in money. It brings visibility. It brings opportunities. So you keep going. You push through the exhaustion because the rewards feel worth it. Until one day they are not. Behind every viral video, there is a hidden toll. The late nights, the weekends that disappear, the feeling that you are always behind, that you can never rest because the next video needs to go up or the numbers will drop. And for Bree, this pressure was happening while she was also running a physical shop. Two full-time jobs pulling in opposite directions. Something had to give. Two lives, one breaking point. Think about what Bray was doing every single day. She was a technician, diagnosing and repairing equipment. She was a business owner, managing inventory and payroll and customer service. She was a content creator, scripting and filming and editing. She was a public figure interacting with fans and answering emails. Most people struggle with one of those roles. She was doing all four at once, and she was doing it well. That is the crazy part. She was not just surviving. She was thriving. The shop had a stellar reputation. The channel was growing. People trusted her. But excellence has a price. The shop faced constant real-world pressures, parts delays that backed up jobs for weeks, supply chains that never fully recovered from the pandemic, seasonal swings that made cash flow unpredictable, busy months where she worked 14-hour days, followed by slow months where she wondered how to pay the bills. Jobs that barely broke even after parts and labor. Customers who expected miracles on a tight budget. Meanwhile, the YouTube side had its own problems. The endless demand for content. The comments section that needed monitoring. The emails from viewers asking for help with their specific machines. The pressure to stay relevant in a platform that punishes you for taking breaks. And then there was something else, something darker. Bree made a choice early on to keep her shop location private online. She did not want random internet people showing up unannounced. She did not want competitors targeting her. She did not want trolls causing problems in real life. That secrecy added its own layer of stress. Always being careful about what you show in videos. Always worrying about whether someone will figure out where you are. Always looking over your shoulder. The line between Chickanic, the YouTube personality, and Bray, the shop owner, became impossible to maintain. The two worlds bled into each other, and both were demanding everything she had. Something was going to break. It was only a question of when. When the math stops working. Here is a truth about small engine repair that nobody wants to admit. It destroys your body. Years of lifting heavy equipment, bending over mower decks, pulling starter ropes on stubborn engines hundreds of times a day, crawling under machines, gripping tools for hours until your hands cramp. It all adds up. This is not a desk job. This is physical labor in the truest sense, and your body keeps a running tab of every hour you spend hunched over an engine. Bray was dealing with serious hip problems, the kind that eventually require surgery, the kind that make you wince when you stand up, the kind that make it impossible to do the physical work that keeps a shop running. When your body starts failing, everything changes. Jobs take longer because you have to rest. You need breaks that you never needed before. You start turning away work because you physically cannot do it. The income drops while the expenses stay exactly the same. And the building itself was aging. Like any commercial space, it needed upgrades and maintenance. The kind of work that costs money you might not have. Running a small independent shop is a constant battle with margins. You charge enough to cover parts and labor and rent and utilities and insurance. And then you hope there is something left over. But when health problems hit and building problems hit at the same time, that math stops working. The busy seasons that used to carry the slow months were no longer enough. The numbers did not add up anymore. The business that had been built over 15 years was no longer sustainable. This is where the story takes a terrifying turn. The digital doppelganger nightmare. Deepfake technology has reached a point where anyone can be copied. Your voice, your face, your mannerisms, your way of speaking. All of it can be replicated by artificial intelligence and used without your permission. And here is the scary part. You cannot stop it. Once your content is online, it is training data. Every video you ever made can be fed into an AI system that learns to imitate you. For content creators like Bray, who have hundreds of hours of video online, this is a nightmare scenario. Every tutorial she ever recorded, every explanation she ever gave, every time she said her catchphrases on camera, all of it can be analyzed and mimicked with frightening accuracy. Fake videos started appearing, videos that looked like Bray, that sounded like Bray, that had her mannerisms and her style, but were not Bray. These AI-generated videos can spread incorrect or dangerous repair instructions. Imagine someone watching what they think is a Chickanic tutorial and following advice that damages their equipment, or worse, injures them. The person in the video looks and sounds legitimate. They trust it because it looks exactly like the real thing. But the information is completely wrong.
Glorious day here in Arkansas, and I have had one exciting week, and I want to tell you all about it. I have a ton of stuff to work on today, and I want to take you all along with me.
In 2024, alone instances of deepfake fraud have surged over 3,000%. The technology is getting better. The tools are getting cheaper. Creating a convincing fake used to require Hollywood-level resources. Now it can be done with free software and a few samples from social media. For someone like Brie, this is not just an inconvenience. It is an existential threat. Her entire brand is built on trust. People watch her videos because they believe she knows what she is talking about. If fake versions of her spread bad information, that trust disappears, and the problem is nearly impossible to fight. You report one fake video, and 3 more appear. You send takedown notices, and the scammers just move to a different platform. The deepfakes multiply faster than they can be removed. Bree built her reputation by helping people fix things safely and correctly. Now, there are digital imposters out there wearing her face and potentially hurting the same people she spent years trying to help. But the deepfakes are only part of a much bigger battle: the war on repair and the fight for survival. The right to repair movement has become one of the most important consumer rights issues of our time. And if you have never heard of it, listen up, because this affects you whether you know it or not. At its core, it is a simple idea. If you own something, you should be able to fix it. You should have access to the parts. You should have access to the tools. You should have access to the information. Sounds reasonable, right? The Right to Repair Coalition has been fighting for over 15 years against corporations representing over $10 trillion in market capitalization. Think about that. Regular people going up against the biggest companies in the world. The good news is that things are finally changing. In 2023 and 2024, several U.S. states enacted comprehensive right to repair laws. California, Colorado, Minnesota, New York, Oregon. These states now require manufacturers to provide repair materials to consumers and independent shops. In November 2024, Canada became the first country to pass a national right to repair law. The European Union adopted its own right to repair directive, requiring manufacturers to offer affordable repair services. But the fight is far from over. Major corporations continue to resist. Companies like Apple and John Deere have argued that independent repair could create safety and security risks. They claim that products are too complex for anyone but authorized technicians to fix safely. Independent mechanics like Bree are on the front lines of this battle. Every video she makes teaching someone to repair their own equipment is an act of resistance. Every time she shows that ordinary people can fix things themselves, she is pushing back against a system designed to keep consumers dependent on manufacturers. So, what actually happened? What are the rumors that are true? The truth about Bree. Yes, she closed the physical shop. After 15 years of building Lakeside Small Engine into a trusted community institution, the doors are closed. The combination of physical health problems, financial pressures, building issues, and sheer exhaustion made it impossible to continue. She moved the operation to her home, scaled down, adapted, because that is what survivors do. But here is the important part. Chickanic is not dead. The channel continues. The knowledge sharing goes on. The community is still there. Bree has shifted her approach, working from home, adapting to her physical limitations while still creating the content that has helped millions of people fix their own equipment. The mission has not changed, only the location. The deepfake threat is real and ongoing. It is a battle that every content creator now faces, and there are no easy solutions. But Bree continues to educate her audience about spotting fakes and trusting only official sources. The right to repair fight continues, and it is gaining momentum. Every state that passes new legislation is a victory. Every corporation that releases repair manuals is progress. Every person who learns to fix their own equipment instead of throwing it away is proof that independent repair matters. At 38 years old, Bree has already accomplished more than most people do in a lifetime. She built a successful business from scratch. She became one of the most trusted voices in small engine repair. She helped create a community of millions who share her belief that people should be able to fix their own things. The shop may be closed, but the mission continues. And if you have ever fixed a lawnmower because you watched one of her videos, if you have ever saved money on a repair because she showed you how, if you have ever felt that satisfaction of bringing a broken engine back to life, then you are part of her legacy. The rumors were true. Everything has changed. But sometimes, the end of one chapter is just the beginning of another. Bree is 38 years old. She has already accomplished more than most people do in a lifetime. She built a successful business from scratch. She became one of the most trusted voices in small engine repair on the entire internet. She helped create a community of millions who share her belief that people should be able to fix their own things. The shop may be closed, the building may be dark, but the mission continues every single day with every video she uploads and every person who watches and learns. And if you have ever fixed a lawnmower because you watched one of her videos, if you have ever saved money on a repair because she showed you how, if you have ever felt that satisfaction of bringing a broken engine back to life with your own two hands, then you are part of her legacy. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below telling me about a time you fixed something yourself. What was it? How did it feel when you brought it back to life?